So without further ado, I'd like to invite Marek Grodzinski from EY to give an overview of the different strategic sourcing models that are out there and the benefits and pros and cons for each of those, based with the backdrop that we're kind of currently facing, Marek, if that's okay.
All right, thank you, Kerry, and I can only mirror what you said. Based on my almost 20 years experience in the GBS sector, usually any crisis means a little slowdown, but not really a recession for the GBS sector. And then, the numbers are skyrocketing. Usually there is a hyper growth afterwards. Once companies fix all the big topics like, restructuring, closing factories, etc., then they start looking into potential savings, and GBS is a natural place for those savings. So yes, I think good news is if you guys are in GBS, you're in the right place. Now, I was asked to speak a little bit about different sourcing models which are available on the market. And a sourcing model is one of the key elements of the GBS strategy. Yes, and it has a major impact long term on target operating model, on the financials, on the organizational culture, and often on stakeholders' experience. So let me tell you first about what's available on the market. There is an old good captive model where the company owns everything, all the assets, all the processes, all resources in globally within the network or individual shared service centers. And that's probably all how it works. That's a standard, I would say, model. Then the other one is co-sourcing. And co-sourcing is simply having I would call it simply a lone staff of, so some teams being built out of either individual contractors or service providers providing this, those people to support operations. However, the process control stays within the mother organization, I would say. Examples: Google is doing that pretty often. They have these centers where there is a center here in Krakow where I live. I think around a couple of hundreds of people. Only a few of them are really the Google employees. The entire team is actually built out of free service providers, but the process delivery and the process KPIs are still in hands of Google. Another example is actually I was running this some years ago. We had a financial data provider to the market, and they didn't want to lose the control over the process and data itself. However, they were unable to build a team quickly, so they came to the service provider that I was working for, and then actually we staffed the entire team, and our KPIs were on the delivery of resources for this particular client. The other option is build, operate, transfer. That's when you start your journey, or you want to add a new big portion and you believe that you can't do that yourself. So the idea is pretty simple. You ask a service provider to set up a center for you, and then after agreed time, there is an option to take it over, right? So after 12, 18, 24 months, there is a change of the logo on the building, and all those people who work for the provider, start working under the normal captive model, I would say. And then obviously there is outsourcing. So giving up some of the processes or pieces of process to an external party, an external provider, very popular as well. and many firms have been doing this for at least 20 years. Of course, there are things in between. And actually, if you look at the market now, it's probably the most popular sourcing model is a mix of various options, often retail, often captive and outsourcing. For captive, you keep the critical processes and what you find strategic for your firm, while moving out transactional stuff to a service provider. There are a lot of examples on the market where this mix is used. Of course, sometimes additionally, also taking into account co-sourcing. So let me now, speak a little bit about, what are the pros and cons of those different solutions. Of course, I've just picked a few lines. It's not possible in such a short meeting to present all those, pluses and minuses of those solutions. But generally, when deciding on the, on your sourcing strategy, you need to take into account a number of different factors, right? So and ask yourself questions, right? Like, first one is about the organizational culture and appetite for change. Are you ready to, for a really dramatic change in your organization? The second topic is control. Yeah, are you ready to give up control of some processes or pieces of process to a third party? Business case. Yeah, so how quickly do you want to realize benefits? Scale and growth. Is your GBS organization, aimed at growing fast? Can it be scaled up in the future? Another element is capabilities and capacities. Do you have the right skills within the organization? Also the transformational skills. Talent management, are you happy to manage large teams within your organization, or you'd rather give it up to someone else? And obviously technology, do you have a right IT architecture in place, or maybe you want someone to help you with the upgrade of your system landscape and adding some extra tools to the existing environment. So what are those pros and cons, for retain and improve? For the captive approach, of course, it's easier to convince your own organization for that. It gives you flexibility to manage this organic and inorganic growth, and particularly when it comes to for those companies who do a lot of acquisitions or divestitures, and very important topic, end-to-end process integration. Yeah? You have a full control throughout the entire process. But on the other side, you need to spend some money upfront. You need to have a new building. You need to build maybe some extra tools. You need to invest into, for example, employer branding in the new location where you will be building your shared service center. Obviously, all talent management, elements, ongoing recruitment. We know very well that GBS, unfortunately, is also about attrition. So how to manage the retention, how to train staff, how to engage people. Now, in terms of the co-sourcing, well, you can quickly access much broader pool of talents and skills. You don't need to actually, again, you don't need to manage them. Yeah? So you just transfer some of your risk and some of the typical challenges you have while running a large organization to a partner, and this partner, sharing with you risks and costs. However, you need to still manage this partner, so you need to have some, service level, agreements and control it. Once you go into this model, it's not that easy to leave it and or exit it. And especially those who use individual contractors, because with service providers, I don't think this is a big issue, but you may have some people in your organization that they may not share all your values, for example, integrity. For the build, operate, transfer, of course, you can quickly set up a center much quicker than if you do that yourself, particularly if you don't have, right resources on your side. And I mean, mostly here, transformation resources and people who know how to transition stuff and how to set up a center. And that gives you extra flexibility when it comes to, staffing and location. However, it comes with costs. Yeah, BOT. You need to pay a margin on on those resources for the first 18, 20, 24 months. And one more thing is that those guys are the employees are hired under the logo of your service provider first. Yeah, so they learn and understand how to operate in this environment, but suddenly after 2 years they need to change into the like mother company brand, and that creates usually some tension. And outsourcing, obviously it gives you immediate cost benefit. So quickly you get cost savings. The providers, they have large teams and they know how to recruit them, so they can give you stability at the beginning of the operations, right? They simply know how to do stuff. And it gives you again access. This is something I mentioned already. Access to the technology. Yes, most of the service providers come to the table with at least some tools, which are one could think basic, like I don't know, workflow or OCR. But if they don't exist in the organization, this again means extra investments. While here you get it as part of the deal. Cons of outsourcing, actually very often the leadership doesn't like this idea, or business doesn't like the idea of giving up anything outside your own firm. So you need to do a lot of change management here. Another thing is that actually you lose the ability to re-establish those functions in your organization, and it's not that easy. If you move, I don't know, a couple of hundred of jobs, it's like a little mission impossible to come back and build it back in your operations in a short period. And also, what is often brought by my clients. Actually, you don't have any succession plan, so you lose the talents that are sitting now onshore, and they are now suddenly with the service provider. So I remember one of the clients saying, "Look, we were looking for a CFO -1 role, and I didn't have anybody in my organization, and actually I had to go to my provider and ask them to transfer one of the guys from them into my team." So again, the list is much longer, but I wanted to just give you a brief overview. What goes usually into outsourcing versus what is capped? I mean, of course, it depends on the appetite, of course, for change, as I said. But the first component or first factor you look at is the value and complexity of the process. The higher, probably the more difficult it is to outsource. I will not go through all those elements. You have some examples here. Usually those strategic roles, top roles are staying still within the organization, retained organization, or captive organization, while the transfer, as I said, mostly at least at the beginning, the transactional work. So that's It's from me, and I hope you have now a little bit better view of what are the decision factors while building your sourcing strategy. Thank you, and back to you, Carrie.
Excellent. Thank you so much.